Kia ora and welcome along to Met Services Friday forecast, looking ahead in towards the weekend. Well, through this week, our weather has been dominated by high pressure. It's been generally plenty of clear skies and fairly settled conditions. We've had a bit more cloud around this morning, a few pockets of mist and fog around, particularly in those inland areas of Waikato, and we've got more of that to come as we head through in towards tomorrow morning. For the rest of this afternoon, though, generally a dry story across many of our parts. We might catch an isolated shower forming across those more inland parts of Northland, and a few showers skirting that eastern coast. But you can see for most of New Zealand, it is looking like a dry story. However, keep an eye down towards the south. You can see we've got these next features just pushing a little bit closer towards us. And as we head in towards the weekend, we'll find those fronts making their way, moving northwards up and across New Zealand. So we are going to find some showery weather making its way up across the South Island as we head through towards Saturday afternoon. You can see some heavier falls running through there. But I think we are going to find it then moves northwards as we head in towards the rest of the weekend. But for overnight tonight, Friday in towards Saturday morning, here's a look at the temperatures you can see as we head in towards the early hours of the morning tomorrow. Temperature-wise, back down to 1 degree Celsius there for Christchurch, 5 or so for Wellington, and not far off up in the far north as well. A cold night for you in Auckland, 5 degrees Celsius, and I think still pretty cold up through Northland as well. So a chilly start to the day on Saturday. But for many of us, it is going to be a dry day across the North Island. Nice clear skies. I think we are going to have a bit of patchy cloud around from time to time. Down south, though, you can see as that front moves northwards, it introduces more cloud and wet weather on towards the western coast. And by the evening time, we'll find some of that rainfall moving up through Canterbury, reaching up towards, say, Christchurch by the end of the day. Behind that, return of that colder air, so we could find some snowfall down to around about the tops of the mountains at about 500 or 600 metres. But I think generally it is going to be a showery story behind that, with the return of some stronger southerly winds around that eastern coast of Otago. So here we are, let's have a look at the weather for the North Island. We start off with some patchy mist and murk, but generally a decent looking day. Nice clear skies for many of us, dry, fine, plenty of sunshine as we head through towards the afternoon. A touch more cloud feeds back towards the Kapiti coast and down towards Wellington. But you can see in terms of rainfall, most spots will stay dry. If you're up towards the tops of the Raukuma range, you might catch an isolated shower. But for many of us, it's a dry, fine looking day. More cloud though as we head through the night time. You can see pushing in towards Taranaki and Wanganui. But I think generally things are set to stay pretty dry. In terms of our temperatures, if you're looking for the highest place, head across towards the Bay of Plenty, 16 degrees Celsius there, plenty of sunshine, a fine looking story, a cold start, but 16 by day and then back down to 6 or so as we head through the night time. Cold temperatures further inland, but down towards places like Wellington, 13 degrees Celsius, your top temperature, and temperatures down to about 7 or so through the night. As we cross Cook Strait down towards the South Island, you can see we have got more weather. Wet weather feeding in towards the likes of Fiordland already, some or two heavier falls out on that western coast. And as we head through the daytime, that front moves up through Southland and in towards Otago, then creeps in towards Canterbury as well. But you can see it's really late in the day before we really see that cloud feeding towards those southern parts of Canterbury. So places like Christchurch northwards, generally a dry day, nice clear skies and staying fine. But by the evening time, that cloud will thicken up and then overnight, that rain returns. Behind it, with the return of that cold air, these showers that you can see come through will have a bit of a wintry nature, but like I say, mainly above about 600 metres, so fairly high up. But I think a bit of a cool, cold feeling night as we head through in towards the early hours of Sunday, with some fairly brisk southerly winds as well, especially about those exposed coastal parts, places like the Otago Peninsula, being quite blustery as we head through the night time. Now, in terms of our temperatures, South Island as well, we've got some pretty decent temperatures, especially ahead of that front in those northwesterlies. 16 degrees Celsius there for Dunedin, 15 or so up towards Timaru. Not a bad looking story, but we have got the return of those cold temperatures behind it. So back down to 1 degree Celsius for likes of Queenstown as we head through the night time in towards Sunday. Speaking of Sunday, that front continues to move northward. You can see it weakens away a fair bit as it pushes up on towards the North Island, but we have got some showers making their way up in towards those central parts of the country. You can see even those showers around that eastern side of the North Island, up towards Northland, Auckland, likely to stay dry through most of the daytime on Sunday, but with a bit more cloud and shower weather later on. You can see by the end of the day, we're in a fairly good southerly feed of air out towards the west. An area of high pressure is set to build back towards us. So for most of next week, things are looking fairly settled once again. But for the weekend, we've got these weakening fronts just moving up and across the country. That's it from me. There's more at metservice.com.